The chamber of the Galactic Council was built on a world of endless light. Its halls were made of crystal towers, shining like suns against the dark of space. Within the chamber, leaders of many alien races gathered in silence. Their voices were low, but their tension filled the air like a storm waiting to break. For hundreds of years, the Council had kept peace across the galaxy. Great empires had been tamed, old enemies had been bound by law, and trade had become the heart of every world. Yet now, peace trembled, and fear grew inside the council chamber. At the center stood a tall alien named Varan, his skin marked with lines of silver. He raised his long arms and spoke to the gathered rulers. "Brothers and sisters of the stars," he said, "we face a danger unlike any we have known. A danger that grows on the blue world called Earth. Humanity rises faster than any other species. If we do not act now, they will one day dominate us all." The council floor stirred with uneasy murmurs. Some nodded in agreement, others shook their heads in denial. A smaller alien with scaled skin spoke with a sharp tone. "They are too young to be feared. Humanity has only begun its steps into the wider galaxy. Their fleets are small, their colonies few. Why do we waste time in this fear?" Varan's voice grew heavy. "Because their progress is unnatural. In less than a century, they have learned what took others thousands of years. They take what they see, they shape it, they improve it. Already they use engines faster than our own, though they were not the first to build them. They copy, but they do more than copy. They make better." The words weighed on the chamber. Memories of first contact with Earth returned to many minds. The humans had greeted the galaxy with smiles and trade. They had taken gifts of knowledge, but they had never given back more than they had to. Yet beneath their simple manners, something grew. Something restless. From the far side of the chamber, a being with wings of glass spoke in a whisper that echoed like bells. "We have seen this pattern before. Rising powers that refuse to stay small. The Thuran Empire rose once. The Kalari Dominion rose once. Both were stopped only by war. If we delay, Earth will rise beyond our reach." The council chamber filled with loud voices. Some shouted for caution, others demanded immediate action. The sound of many tongues clashed, until the high voice of the speaker of the council cut through them all. "The time has come for a vote," the speaker declared. "One path will lead us to open war against Earth, before it grows too strong. The other path will keep peace, but leave the risk to our children. We must decide." One by one, the rulers gave their votes. The first few chose war. Then others followed, speaking with fear in their voices. A few resisted, calling it madness to strike against such a young race. But their numbers were small. As the votes continued, the result became clear. When the last ruler spoke, the chamber fell into silence. The speaker raised his hand. "The decision is made. The galaxy has chosen war. Earth must be contained before it breaks balance. Fleets will gather. Soldiers will march. Humanity will not be allowed to rise." Across the chamber, relief spread among some, while unease spread among others. The decision was final, and there was no turning back. The message would soon reach every empire, every fleet, every soldier. The galaxy would prepare for its greatest war in centuries. Yet far away, on the small blue world called Earth, the decision was not a surprise. On that same day, deep beneath the United Nations fortress in Geneva, leaders of Earth gathered in a hidden hall. Around a great table sat generals, admirals, scientists, and the elected head of Earth's nations. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were sharp. The head of the council, an older man named Paul, rose to his feet. "The vote has been cast," he said. "The galaxy has chosen war against us. This we already knew would come. They fear us not because of what we are, but because of what we can become." A woman named Myra leaned forward, her eyes fixed on the maps glowing above the table. They will gather fleets greater than ours, she said. They will think we are unprepared. That is our advantage. They will not see what we have built in the shadows. The generals nodded. For decades, Earth had smiled at the galaxy, pretending to be humble and weak. But while the galaxy believed in peace, Earth had been preparing for something else. In the hidden docks of asteroids, fleets had been built. On remote moons, soldiers had been trained. On secret stations, weapons had been forged that no alien had yet seen. Paul spoke again, his voice carrying the weight of history. The galaxy chose war. But Earth has been waiting for this moment all along. We will not only survive. We will endure, and we will show them why humanity cannot be broken. The leaders rose in silence, knowing that the long peace was over. Humanity had entered the test of its existence. The galaxy thought war would destroy Earth. But Earth had been born in struggle, and war was the language it understood best. Beneath the surface of Earth, far from the eyes of alien scouts and council spies, a hidden world existed. It was not shown in reports or in trade records. It was built in secret tunnels, carved deep into stone, and stretched under oceans and mountains. This world was the true strength of humanity, and it had been growing for many years. Inside one of these chambers, Paul stood before a group of commanders. A great screen filled the wall, showing maps of star systems, routes, and hidden stations. The air carried the quiet hum of machines, the sound of a world preparing for war. Now that the Council has chosen war, we no longer need to wait, Paul said. His voice was steady, though every word carried weight. It is time to awaken all our fleets. The galaxy thinks we are weak, but we have prepared for this day. We will show them they made a mistake. The commanders nodded, their faces hard. Each of them had lived through the years of secret planning. They had watched ships being built inside hollow asteroids, where no alien eye could see. They had trained soldiers on far-off colonies disguised as research outposts. Every move had been hidden, every plan wrapped in silence. Myra, the strategist, rose from her chair. She touched the screen, and the maps shifted to show hidden shipyards. Long lines of warships glowed in the dark. They were not like the simple vessels Earth had once shown to the galaxy. These ships were faster, sharper, and armed with weapons that no alien had ever faced. We used their own technology against them, Myra said. We took what they gave us and made it stronger. Their engines became our engines, but faster. Their shields became our shields, but tougher. They will not expect how far we have gone. A young commander named Arun leaned forward. But their fleets are vast. Even with all we have built, they will outnumber us. Myra's gaze was calm. Numbers alone do not win wars. If they did, Earth would never have survived its own history. What wins is the will to fight and the ability to adapt. That is what we carry, and what they fear. Outside, in orbit above the planet, human ships already moved into silent formation. They were painted dark, hidden against the stars. Some were built in secret only months ago, others had been waiting for years. Pilots trained endlessly in simulators, learning to fight in ways alien minds could not imagine. On a distant moon, soldiers prepared their armor and weapons. They were not many compared to alien armies, but each soldier had been trained to fight with speed, skill, and resolve. They did not think of themselves as conquerors. They thought only of defending their home and proving their place among the stars. Paul walked among them one day, his steps echoing in the steel halls of a training center. He stopped before a group of young recruits. Their faces were tense but proud. He studied them for a moment before speaking. The galaxy believes you are weak. They believe Earth is a young world that cannot stand. But each of you carries the history of all who came before. Every struggle, every hardship, every fight for survival made us who we are. Remember this when the first battle comes. You are not only fighting for Earth. You are fighting for the right of humanity to exist in this galaxy. The recruits saluted, their voices rising together. We will not fail. Back in the command chamber, Myra studied reports from human spies hidden across alien worlds. Messages came in through coded signals, each carrying valuable knowledge. She saw the patterns of enemy fleets, the routes of supply ships, the weaknesses of alien defenses. Every detail became part of her growing plan. She turned to Paul. The first strike will be theirs. They will test us with a sudden attack, likely near Mars. We must let them believe they have the advantage, only to break them when they commit their strength. Paul nodded. So it begins. That night, Earth itself seemed silent. Cities continued their daily life, unaware of the great storm building beyond the stars. Children played in streets, workers filled their shifts, and families sat around their tables. To them, peace was still real. But above them, in secret skies, fleets gathered, and weapons charged. In the deep space docks carved into asteroids, engineers checked every system one last time. They knew the galaxy would soon see what had been hidden. They worked without fear, only with purpose. The galaxy believed humanity had grown too quickly, that its rise was dangerous. But they did not understand the truth. Humanity had been preparing since the day it looked at the stars. Every invention, every risk, every bold step had led to this moment. Paul stood once more before the hidden council of Earth. His eyes moved across Myra, Arun, and the others who had carried the secret for so long. They wanted us small, he said. They wanted us silent. But we were never meant to be small or silent. Now they come to end us. Instead, they will learn who we are. The council rose in agreement. Their time of waiting was over. The galaxy's war had begun, but it would not be fought as the council expected. It would be fought on Earth's terms. The alien fleets entered the Sol system like a storm. From the darkness beyond Neptune, ships of every size pushed forward. Their hulls glowed with strange lights, their weapons charged with deadly fire. The council had gathered ships from many empires, united under one command. To them, this was not only a mission but a warning to the galaxy: no young world could be allowed to rise unchecked. The lead admiral of the alien armada, a being with skin like polished stone, spoke to his officers. Earth is small. Its defenses will fall within days. Strike hard and show them resistance is useless. The armada moved toward Mars, the red planet, where human colonies and outposts circled in orbit. The aliens expected easy victory, but what awaited them was something far different. On Mars, human soldiers waited in underground bunkers. Civilians had been moved to shelters, leaving the surface empty. In orbit, hidden behind the planet's shadow, human warships lay in silence. They were smaller than alien cruisers but built for speed and agility. Every pilot knew what was coming, and every hand gripped controls with steady courage. Myra watched the alien fleet approach on a giant screen in Earth's command hall. Her voice was calm but sharp. They expect us to defend Mars directly. They believe we will throw everything forward to protect it. We will not. We will let them advance, and then we will cut their heart. Paul stood beside her, arms folded. And when we strike, the galaxy will see what humanity has prepared. As the alien fleet entered Mars orbit, they opened fire. Great beams of energy tore across the sky, striking the outer defenses. Towers of steel crumbled, shields burned, and dust filled the thin Martian air. To the aliens, it looked like victory. But then the trap was sprung. From the shadow of Phobos, Mars's small moon, human ships erupted into motion. Sleek and fast, they darted between alien cruisers like hawks among giants. Their weapons fired with precision, striking engines, cutting through shields, and leaving larger ships helpless. Where the aliens relied on sheer size, humans relied on speed and instinct. Admiral Karun, commander of the alien armada, watched his screens in shock. They should not be this advanced. How are they moving so fast? How are their weapons cutting through? His officers gave no answer. Ships around them were falling, torn apart by smaller human vessels that refused to fight in predictable patterns. In the cockpit of one fighter, a young pilot named Lena guided her ship through a storm of fire. She dodged blasts by the smallest margin, trusting her instincts more than her instruments. With a sharp turn, she struck the side of a cruiser, destroying its engine and forcing it to drift helplessly. Her voice filled the comm channel. Remember what we trained for. Think faster, move sharper. Do not fight like them. Fight like us. Her words spread courage through the human fleet. They fought not with fear but with boldness, making choices no machine could predict. On the surface of Mars, hidden cannons rose from underground silos. They fired beams of concentrated energy upward, striking the alien flagships. The sky above the red planet lit with fire as alien vessels fell. For every human ship destroyed, 2 alien ships followed. What the galaxy had thought would be an easy battle was turning into a disaster. From Earth, Myra gave orders with calm precision. Shift the Third Fleet to cut their supply ships. Leave their front line blind. Do not chase their main forces, break their support, and the rest will crumble. Paul watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. This is the moment they learn who we are. The alien admiral tried to rally his forces. Pull back from Mars orbit. Regroup near the outer line. But his command came too late. Human ships had already cut the alien formations apart, scattering them into smaller groups that could not hold the line. Above the red sands of Mars, the first great clash between Earth and the galaxy ended with fire. Alien wreckage drifted through the void, glowing against the cold stars. Human ships, though scarred and battered, still held formation. Their pilots cheered, their soldiers raised voices of victory, and their commanders knew the truth. The Council had sent its fleets to crush Earth in one strike. Instead, Earth had shown the galaxy that it could not be broken so easily. When the survivors of the alien armada fled back toward the outer system, Myra spoke quietly to Paul. They will return, and with greater force. Today we surprised them. Next time they will come prepared. Paul nodded. And so will we. Each battle will teach us more, and each defeat will teach them fear. This was only the beginning. Far across the galaxy, the news of the battle spread. Worlds that had voted for war now whispered in doubt. How had Earth, so young, stood against the united power of many empires? What secret strength did humanity carry? The galaxy had chosen war, but war was not what humanity feared. War was what had shaped it. And now, for the first time, the galaxy began to see that truth. The Great Hall of the Earth Council was filled with the sound of voices, but not of fear. Commanders, scientists, and leaders spoke with a firm belief that the first battle at Mars had proven something important. Humanity was no longer seen as weak. They had fought the Council's armada and forced it to retreat. Myra stood before the gathering, her eyes fixed on the glowing screen above. The screen showed wreckage drifting around Mars, pieces of alien ships shining like broken stars. She raised her voice so all could hear. They believed we would break. They believed we were too young, too small, too fragile. Instead, we showed them what humanity has always carried. It is not only weapons or ships that give us strength. It is the history that lives in each of us. The hall grew quiet. Myra spoke again, slower this time, as though telling a story. For thousands of years, Earth was a place of storms and struggle. We faced hunger, cold, fire, and endless conflict. Empires rose and fell, disasters struck, and wars burned across continents. Yet through all of it, humanity did not vanish. We learned to adapt, to endure, and to rise again. That is our secret. What they call chaos is what made us strong. Paul, standing beside her, added his own words. The council believes peace is what builds strength. They have lived in safety for centuries, hiding behind rules and laws. But peace made them slow. It made them soft. They do not understand that hardship is the forge of true power. Around the table, heads nodded in agreement. A scientist named Darren leaned forward. We took their engines and improved them. We copied their shields and made them stronger. But even greater than our machines is the way our people think. No alien computer can match the instincts of a human pilot. No council planner can match the speed of a human decision in battle. They do not know how to fight against a mind that refuses to follow rules. In the training halls across Earth and its colonies, this truth was clear. Pilots trained not only with machines but with their own creativity. In one hall, Lena, the young pilot from Mars, was surrounded by recruits. They asked her how she had destroyed a cruiser with only a small fighter. She smiled and explained, "I trusted my instincts. I did not wait for the computer to tell me the path. I felt it." That is something they cannot copy. The recruits listened with wide eyes. They understood now that their training was not only about skill with weapons. It was about being human, fast, bold, unpredictable. On the other side of the galaxy, however, alien leaders were not calm. Inside the council chamber, the surviving admirals argued with one another. Some demanded more ships, some demanded stronger weapons, and some whispered of fear. One elder spoke with a trembling voice. "We thought them weak. Yet their weakness hides strength. What kind of world creates such fighters? How can such a young race face us as equals?" Varon, the same leader who had once warned of Earth, stood again. "Do you see now? Humanity is not like us. Their past is filled with storms we never knew. We must not underestimate them again. If we do, this war may consume us instead of them." But pride was strong among the council. Many refused to believe that Earth could stand against them for long. Plans were made to gather even greater fleets, to crush humanity before more worlds began to doubt the council's rule. Back on Earth, Myra studied these reports from hidden spies. She turned to Paul with a calm smile. "They are afraid, but their pride blinds them. They will come again, stronger than before. And when they come, we will be ready." Paul answered, his voice heavy with certainty. "This war is no longer about survival. It is about showing the galaxy who we are. For too long they believed humans were only imitators, always behind others. Now they will see that we are not only survivors, we are creators. We take the tools of others and make them greater. That is the true secret of humanity." In the nights above Earth, the stars shone brighter than ever. Ships moved silently in orbit, preparing for the next clash. Soldiers trained on distant moons, repeating the lessons of history. Engineers worked in hidden stations, turning science into weapons that would soon surprise the galaxy again. Every step carried the same truth: humanity did not grow strong in peace. Humanity grew strong in struggle. That struggle had shaped every generation, and it now shaped their future among the stars. The galaxy had chosen war, but Earth had been waiting for it. The next battles would be harder, but humans had already accepted the cost. They were ready to fight not only for their home, but for their place in the galaxy. Myra stood at the window of the council hall that night, watching the stars. She whispered to herself, though the words carried far. "They will never understand why we endure. But they will learn. And when they learn, it will be too late to stop us." The stars above Earth were restless. Fleets moved across the black sky, and every ship carried the same purpose. Humanity had won at Mars, but the war was far from over. The Council was gathering greater forces, building an armada so vast that even the bravest soldier felt its shadow. Yet Earth did not wait in fear. Earth prepared to strike first. In the hidden command hall, Myra stood before the gathered leaders. The great screen showed maps of enemy supply lines stretching across the galaxy. "They believe numbers will crush us," she said firmly. "But numbers are only strong when fed. Every fleet must eat, every weapon must be supplied. If we strike at their supply lines, their armies will starve in space." Paul nodded in agreement. "We cannot fight every battle head-on. We must fight where they are weakest. Small fleets, quick strikes, sudden blows. Let them waste their strength chasing us, while we cut their heart." The room filled with agreement. Humanity's strength was not in matching the Council ship for ship, but in striking with speed and creativity. Soon, the first missions began. Small human fleets slipped into enemy space, moving like shadows between stars. They did not fight great battles, but instead destroyed fuel depots, weapon factories, and communication hubs. Every strike was sudden, and every strike left the Council more desperate. On one mission, Lena flew with a squadron of fighters through the dark edge of an asteroid belt. Ahead lay a massive alien shipyard, guarded by cruisers and patrol craft. The squadron moved in silence, their ships hidden by the shadows of rock. At Myra's signal, they launched their attack. Explosions lit the void as human torpedoes struck the docks. The alien defenders scrambled, but they were too slow. Lena's fighter weaved between them, striking engines and shields before vanishing again. Within minutes, the shipyard was broken, and a dozen alien ships burned. The squadron escaped before reinforcements could arrive. Lena's voice over the comm was calm but proud. "One more supply chain cut. They will feel this." Back on Earth, news of these victories spread quietly among the people. Families whispered of fleets that struck and vanished, of soldiers who fought with skill beyond imagination. Hope grew in their hearts. Even though the war was far away, they knew their world was no longer seen as helpless. But the Council felt the sting of every loss. In their chamber, arguments grew louder with each passing day. Admirals shouted about broken supply lines, leaders demanded answers, and whispers of doubt spread. Some began to ask if the war had been a mistake. Others insisted humanity must be crushed before more worlds started to question the Council's rule. Varan, the one who had first warned of Earth, spoke again. "Do you not see? We believed they would fight like us, with slow fleets and heavy guns. But they fight with speed and surprise. They are not bound by our rules. They strike where we are blind, and then they vanish. We cannot defeat them with pride alone." But the Council could not stop. Their pride, their fear, and their need for control drove them forward. Orders were given for the largest fleet in centuries to gather. It would be sent to Earth with the power of a storm. Myra received word of this plan through hidden channels. She stood before Paul with steady eyes. "They will come with everything they have. The battle will be greater than Mars, greater than anything we have faced. If we win, the galaxy will see us as equals. If we lose, Earth will fall." Paul's answer was simple. "Then we will win." Preparations began at once. Human engineers worked day and night to ready weapons never before revealed. Ships that had waited in secret were brought into the open. Soldiers drilled harder than ever, knowing the coming battle would decide not only their survival, but their future among the stars. In one training hall, Lena gathered her squadron. "We are not fighting for conquest," she told them. "We are fighting so no one can ever decide our fate for us again. Remember that when the sky is full of fire." Her words echoed across many ranks, from soldiers on moons to engineers in hidden stations. Everyone carried the same belief: the coming battle was not just for Earth, but for humanity's right to stand tall. The Council fleets gathered near a dying star, preparing for their final march toward the Sol system. It was a force so large that even their own officers wondered if such power was necessary. But their leaders demanded nothing less than Earth's destruction. On Earth, Myra watched their movement through secret channels. She whispered to herself as she studied the map of stars. They think they are hunters. But they do not see they are walking into our hands. This will be the moment when the tide turns forever. The galaxy had chosen war, but in its choice, it had awakened something it did not expect. Humanity was no longer a young race learning from others. Humanity was a force that had risen from its own struggles, ready to shape its destiny. The greatest battle was coming, and both sides knew it. The void of space was quiet, but the calm was false. A massive armada of alien ships moved toward the Sol system, carrying the full weight of the Galactic Council's power. Every vessel was armed with the latest weapons, every fleet captain had orders to destroy Earth, and every soldier believed victory was certain. But Earth had prepared. Hidden among asteroids and distant moons, human fleets waited. Ships that the galaxy had never seen rose from the shadows, sleek and fast, ready to fight in ways no alien could predict. Every pilot knew that this battle would decide the future of humanity. Paul stood in the command chamber beneath the United Nations fortress. His eyes moved across the maps and reports. This is the moment we have trained for. Every fleet, every soldier, every weapon we have prepared is about to be tested. We will not retreat. We will not falter. Humanity fights not only for survival but for its right to exist among the stars. Myra added, pointing to strategic points on the map. They will attack in waves, focusing on our orbital defenses. But we will turn their strength against them. Small human fleets will strike their supply lines, destroy their communication hubs, and cut their formations apart. They will learn that the galaxy cannot fight the unexpected. In the dark of space, Lena adjusted the controls of her fighter. Beside her, young recruits followed her lead. Every pilot had trained for this, every move had been repeated hundreds of times in simulations. But this was no simulation. The enemy was real, and their fleet was larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Stay close, Lena said over the comms. Trust your instincts. Move faster than they expect. Strike where they are blind. The first wave of alien ships entered the outer Sol system, their weapons blazing. Beams of energy tore across space, striking empty stations and defensive satellites. To the aliens, it seemed like Earth was defenseless, as if the blue planet would fall without a fight. Then the trap was revealed. From the shadow of Jupiter, human fleets emerged. Small squadrons darted like hawks among the alien cruisers. Their weapons struck at engines, shields, and command vessels. Alien ships that thought themselves powerful were destroyed before they could respond. Every move by the Council's armada was anticipated, every formation broken. On a bridge of a human destroyer, Paul watched the battle unfold. This is more than skill, he said. This is human instinct. Machines and calculations cannot match the courage and speed of a mind that refuses to be confined by rules. Myra's voice came through the comms. Focus on their commanders. Break their order and the rest will follow. Humanity thrives in chaos, and now we create it for them. Across space, explosions lit the darkness. Entire alien cruisers shattered under human fire. Pilots moved with precision, striking multiple targets at once, then disappearing into shadows. Engineers in human stations guided the fleets, adjusting movements in real time, turning numbers and speed into unstoppable strikes. Even the largest alien ships could not withstand the combination of strategy, speed, and instinct. Fleets meant to crush humanity were scattered, broken, and forced to retreat. The Council's admirals shouted over comm channels, trying to restore control, but human fleets moved faster than any command could reach them. Lena's squadron struck a critical supply station. Her torpedoes ripped through armor, and the station exploded in a wave of fire. One more for humanity, she said calmly, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. The Council realized too late that Earth had outthought them. Every tactic they used was anticipated and countered. Every fleet they brought to overwhelm humanity was turned into a trap. Their war, meant to destroy, had instead revealed the full strength of a race they had underestimated. Paul watched the final movements of the battle. They came to end us. Instead, they learned what we have always known: humanity cannot be broken. They can be defeated in part, but never destroyed. When the last alien vessel withdrew from the Sol system, a silence filled the void. The stars reflected off the wreckage drifting in space, showing the cost of the great gamble. But humanity had survived. They had not only defended their home but shattered the pride of a galaxy that had believed itself invincible. Myra looked at Paul. The galaxy now knows that war with Earth is not simple. Every battle will be harder, but we are ready. They will remember this day, and they will never forget the lesson we have taught them. Paul nodded. And they will learn more lessons with each encounter. Humanity's strength is not in one battle alone, but in every challenge we rise to meet. Today we endured. Tomorrow, we will show them even more. In the distant reaches of space, the Council fleets regrouped. Their pride was shaken, their plans disrupted, and their fear now grew. Earth had fought back when all seemed lost. Earth had survived when all thought it would fall. And humanity had only just begun. The galaxy had expected a quick victory, but it had been wrong. Every corner of the Council's fleets now knew that humanity was not a race to underestimate. Word of Earth's victories spread like wildfire across distant star systems. Worlds that once supported the Council's plan began to question their loyalty. Humanity had risen not only through strength, but through courage and strategy that no other species had shown. On Earth, the leaders gathered in the Great Command Hall. Paul and Myra stood side by side, looking at reports from scouts and spies. Their faces were calm, yet every line carried the weight of the struggle they had endured. They will come again, Myra said, pointing to fleets gathering near the outer systems. But now they hesitate. Every world in the galaxy saw what we can do. Fear is growing among their allies. Paul nodded. They believed they could crush us in one strike. They learned that humanity fights differently. We are not ruled by rules or expectation. We adapt. We endure. And we rise when others fall. Across the void of space, human fleets remained vigilant. Ships patrolled the edges of the system, ready to strike at any sign of aggression. Pilots trained constantly, engineers improved weapons, and soldiers prepared for boarding actions if needed. Every human knew that victory had not yet been fully won. But hope and confidence filled the hearts of all who fought. In one small training squadron, Lena spoke to a group of new recruits. The galaxy believed it could intimidate us, she said. They believed we would retreat when faced with numbers. But humanity does not retreat. We face challenges, and we turn them into strength. Remember that as you fly into the stars. Her words were repeated across other fleets and stations. Humanity's belief in itself became a force that even the Council could not measure. It was not only technology or strategy that had saved Earth, but the courage, determination, and will of every human who fought. Back on Earth, Paul addressed the Council. The galaxy must now see us as we truly are. We will not conquer, but we will not be conquered. We will offer peace to those who seek it, but we will stand strong against those who would threaten our existence. Humanity has survived countless storms on our own world. Now we have faced a storm across the stars and we have endured. Myra turned her attention to the Council fleets. They will try to gather again. They will attempt to overwhelm us. But they have learned our ways. And we have learned theirs. Every battle from this point forward will be a test of their pride as much as our courage. Across the galaxy, alien leaders met in secret. The pride that had driven them to war now clashed with fear. They realized that their assumptions had been wrong. Earth had not only defended itself, it had become a symbol of what a determined race could achieve. Some factions began to suggest peace, while others prepared for revenge. But all knew one truth: humans were not ordinary. On Earth, celebrations were quiet but meaningful. Families looked up at the night sky, feeling a connection to the stars and to the brave humans who had fought above them. Soldiers rested in their quarters, engineers returned to their stations, and pilots cleaned their ships. Even in victory, they remembered the cost. But they also remembered why they fought: for freedom, for survival, and for the right to stand proud among the stars. Myra spoke to the council one final time. The galaxy believed it could choose our fate. It believed that war could destroy us. But humanity has shown that it cannot be destroyed. We are shaped by struggle, strengthened by challenge, and guided by courage. Let this be known across every world: we do not seek to rule, but we will never bow to fear. Paul added quietly, almost to himself, the galaxy has awakened. It has seen what humanity truly is. And now, it will respect us not because we threaten it, but because we endure when others would fail. Above Earth, the stars seemed to shine brighter. Human fleets glided through orbit, silent and watchful. They had survived the trials of war and learned the true meaning of their strength. Every pilot, soldier, and engineer carried in their hearts the same knowledge: humanity was not just a young race learning from others. Humanity was a force of life, courage, and unbroken will. The council fleets withdrew for now, leaving space around the Sol system quiet but tense. The galaxy had been taught a lesson it would never forget. Humans did not fight like other species. Humans adapted, created, and endured. Humanity had risen, not through fear or conquest, but through the unshakable spirit that had carried it across millennia. And on Earth, Paul and Myra stood together, looking up at the stars. They knew the future would hold more battles and more challenges, but they also knew that humanity was ready. The galaxy had chosen war, but Earth had been waiting for this moment all along. And now, the galaxy knew the truth.